everyone, welcome. I'm sitting here today with Ashley Cummings and Lori Beth Chesley. And Ashley is from our Kenville location, and Lori Beth is from our Kingston location. And I'm Sherry, and we just wanted to sit down and have a chat, an honest chat actually, about being a mother and the wonderful things and challenges, etc. And we have to admit, we are new at this. We are all nervous, just a smidge, and we're just going to be ourselves. So thanks for joining us, and we'll start off. So who wants to introduce themselves? Ashley, why don't you go first? Why don't you tell us about you and your family?
I am Ashley Cummings.
Can you?
Oh, hello.
No, that's good.
I'm Ashley Cummings, and my daughter's Emerald and son Eamon, and the wife of Lucas.
Lovely picture.
Thank you. We live in Kenville. And yeah, we've been attending New Hope. Well, I've been attending New Hope for about 8-9 years now, I think it is. It's flying by.
Yeah, it is as well. And Lori Beth, what about, do you want to tell us about you and your family?
Sure. I'm Lori Beth Chesley, and that's my daughter Liliana. And 2 years ago, God introduced us to Jason, and we live in Wilmot, and we have been attending New Hope Kingston with Jason for about 1.5 years.
Lovely. It's great. And I am Sherry, and this is my family. And Seth is our youngest. And Samuel is our youngest. Seth is our oldest, and his beautiful wife, Jessica. And they, as you can tell, are grown. Samuel just graduated yesterday from university, and Seth and Jess live in the city and work. Yeah, that is my family. So, like I mentioned, we are just going to sit back and have a casual chat about what it's like being a mom. So let's start in with the best moment. If it's easy to do. I mean, how do you pick one? But anyway, do you want to start about?
Sure. Some of my best moments as a mom are just enjoying life through Liliana's eyes. Just love how she describes things, her sense of humor, how she speaks. But my second is probably tied with that, and it's to hear about her speak of Jesus and God. It's very important to me that she loves Jesus and knows who Jesus is, and we play worship music in the car and at home through Sirius XM. We play The Message, and she just sings those songs around the house, and sometimes when we're driving I can hear her in the back seat singing those songs, and it just makes my heart so happy.
Oh. So can you pick one moment out that, like you were saying, seeing things through her eyes, that like one of those stories that, can you think of anything?
Oh, man.
There's so many. I know.
There are so many. One thing that really stands out to me was from when she was 2 years old. She was an early talker, so we used to have many conversations from when she was very young. But one time we were driving in the car, and I asked her if she remembered what it was like before she was born. I used to ask her all kinds of questions just to hear what she would say. And she said, "Oh, yes, Mommy." And I said, "Oh, this should be interesting." What's she going to say? And I said, "Okay, so can you sort of tell me about it?" And she said, "Well, I was up in heaven." And I said, "Oh," and she said, "Yes. There was a scary monster, and God told me, 'Do not be afraid.'" And this was when she was 2 years old.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting answer from such a young child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I've thought about that often since she mentioned that long ago.
And she was, wow, that is quite a moment.
It was.
Great story.
Yeah.
My 2-year-old doesn't even talk.
But we won't know that by the time your child's 10.
No.
Just make up stories.
What about you, Ashley?
I'm going to be cliche.
That's okay. Cliche it is.
My favorite moment is hands down the moment that I met both my kids.
Mm-hmm. It is an amazing moment.
know.
It's hard to describe.
It is,
It really
isn't
is.
it?
It is, yeah. Sorry.
We'll probably have a few of those moments. There are Kleenexes here. Oh.
So yeah, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a mom. Like that's what I always said that I wanted to be. So it was a long wait for them, and the moment that I saw them, it was just overwhelming. Like you can't explain that feeling. So
Agreed.
super cliche, but it is.
It's truth.
It
Can't
is.
help it.
Oh, do you remember that moment as well?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. The first time they pass you your baby and you're just looking at them, and I had been in labor for a long time, like, I don't know, close to 30 hours, and I hadn't slept that whole time. And they gave me Liliana, and she was born at, I think, 5 to 8 in the evening, and all night I just stared at her. And I was like, I can't even sleep because she's finally here. It's just a moment you can't even really describe the emotional part of it.
Emerald was born at like just almost midnight, so she was almost like the next day baby, and we didn't sleep that whole night, and we were exhausted. I think I was in
Yes.
labor with her for like over 48 hours.
Right.
In the moment, like we just couldn't sleep. We were both exhausted, but the adrenaline was
So
there.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could steal your moment, but I'm going to leave it at that.
You can steal my moment.
No, I think that's typical for every mom, don't you think? That first moment when you lay eyes on that your child and the realization that
You really can't explain it.
no, you
Unless
can't.
you've experienced it. You can't.
Right.
And honestly, it really doesn't go away, does it? Even when they're
No.
driving you a little bit bananas with whatever. It just
Many things.
but especially when the boys were little, because they were known as being, loud and well,
Boys.
loud. They're boys, and I always found that they, they were full of activity, almost right up to the minute they went to bed. But they went to bed, and then you see them sleeping in their beds, and it was just, it takes you right back to that moment all
Oh, it
over
does.
again. And I don't care how old they get.
It's
And
still
no,
surreal. Like,
You still.
I do not. they're grown men now. That's just creepy. But but they're still my boys. They're still. I look at them. They're both grown men, and I look at them as if they were two. There are
Right.
times when, and I know that would probably drive them both a little crazy, but truthfully, that's it. It's it. They grow up, but in your mind, they are always your baby, and that will
Yes.
never change.
Never.
So I think that's one of my favorite things about being a mom
right.
is that realization. But I don't know. There's just so many.
There are very, very many.
And now, so we've talked about the positive. Let's go to the most challenging. Oh, let's not go to the most challenging thing. Yeah, let's go to the most challenging
The lack
thing.
of sleep.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Well, you're still in the stages when they're
Yes.
really little.
They're waking up like 5 times. Well, Eamon 5 times a night. So
And Eamon never, well, I'm not going to talk for you. Eamon never stops.
no, he doesn't. He just goes and goes and goes and goes, and he's not napping anymore. He hasn't napped for over half a year. So he
Oh, dear.
cut them cold turkey.
I remember when
Yeah.
naps left Liliana's schedule.
Oh,
That was scary.
And so he hits about 5 o'clock, which is supper time,
Oh.
and he's ready for bed. And I'm like, you can't go to bed yet. You need to eat. But he just wants to go to sleep. So then he's overtired.
mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful, beautiful time.
So lack of sleep, that is a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing. When it's not an easy thing. Don't get me wrong. at that age when
It'll
it
pass.
is not
Yeah.
it is not easy when you're in the middle of that.
I just keep in my mind
Mm.
that it will pass. Like
Mm.
with Emerald, she didn't start sleeping until she's about 4. So she's
Oh.
just turning 5 now, but I know that it's coming. So like I just keep that in
Yes.
my mind. Oh, she's going to be able to sleep. And probably another, like if I'm not going to be, most moms would probably say lack of sleep because, yeah, or parents even, how many parents do get sleep at a young, when they're
Yeah.
young, but it's probably like realizing that everything that you say and you do is gonna like become them in a way.
Mm.
Like they see everything that you do and you say. But I have faith that if we continue to raise them with God in their hearts, then they'll
Mhm.
be God loving and compassionate people. So
Mm.
just keep that in my
In your head.
in my head. Just walk the walk,
Yeah.
Yeah. and then they'll see and want to do the same.
That's true. That is
Mhm.
beautiful. That is beautiful. Taking a negative and making it a positive.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want to chime in?
Sure. I think one of the things for me that's the hardest is just knowing and trusting that you're doing the right thing
Mm.
and accepting that we do make mistakes as moms and we're not perfect, but resting in the grace that God has for us and also the grace of our children that seems
Mm.
Christ-like. Like they just forgive us all the time and love us no matter our mistakes, and we fail them just like we fail Jesus, but they're just there the next day crawling into our laps and still wanting us and loving us just like Jesus does. So it's hard to accept that I fail her, but she still loves me every day.
Right.
And just trusting that what I'm doing is the right thing for her, I find difficult.
So you're not, so would you say that guilt is like, I think we all struggle with guilt.
Oh, yeah.
So that already,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
not fair.
Because, of course, I'd like to be the perfect mom who never makes a
Oh.
mistake, does everything perfect all the time, says the
Yeah.
right things, does the right things. But, I mean, it's
How?
impossible.
Yeah.
There's
But-
guilt every day. Like
Yes.
when they go to bed, oh, did I do enough? Did I play with them enough?
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Did I say the right things?
Yeah.
Did I make them feel loved enough?
When I was frustrated, was I too honest
Mm.
about my frustration?
Right.
Or, oh, yeah, and it never goes away.
No.
I'm thankful that we have our 3 age groups represented, but one that because of COVID, we have to keep numbers limited. But one age group we don't have represented is our grandmothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like my mother and your mom's would have their kids having kids and so on and so forth. And that, because that's, I think, we don't hear enough of
Right.
from moms that age. But I know my mom has talked about struggling with guilt. And even now, like, that's just an awful thing. But it's true, we all do it.
I don't think
Right.
it will ever go away.
No, well, maybe.
Maybe.
In a
Hopefully.
perfect world,
Yes.
maybe it would. But yeah, I think, I have,
I think it would go away once we
Do you
meet
think?
with God.
that's
yeah.
true.
Everything
Yeah,
will.
that's right.
Yeah.
That will be gone. But
Yeah.
as what I was hoping you were going to say here,
No, sorry.
I think back, and of course, my boys, and I don't want to talk about them too much by any stretch, but I can't help myself sometimes. But I think back to when my boys were younger, and all the things that I wish that I had done differently. And there's too many. I mean, I love them with my whole heart, and I love them the best way I possibly could. So you just pour yourself into your kids, and you love them, and you encourage them, and you tell them how wonderful they are, because they are, not because you're lying, because they are wonderful. But
Our
don't you
kids are the best kids.
well, yeah, it's true.
Right.
But no, they're just so perfect in our eyes, don't you find? I
Yeah.
mean, they have they're kids, so they're going to make mistakes.
Mhm.
But
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how many mistakes,
no.
it's all erased.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, it is a wonderful thing. Yeah. So, so we were talking about the most difficult thing.
Which
And,
end up turning into positive.
Which you're turning into a positive. Thank you. But I'm going to go back to the negative for just a second. We, when Seth was little, he had has a rare genetic disorder, and I've told a lot of people this, and a lot of people know it, and what have you. But one of the most challenging times were when we knew what his diagnosis was and what have you, but then there was a time where we thought there was a mass, so they're always doing scans and things, and so they were talking about, do we do a biopsy, but it was in a difficult place, yada yada yada. So at that time we were like, okay, so he already has alpha 1 and an enlarged spleen and so on and so forth, and then we thought, okay, so they were talking cancer at the time. Now, I'm going to take my turn with the tears. Anyway, I think I can make it through. But so we were going through all the tests and so on and so forth. And I remember feeling powerless. And because when your kids are little, they fall, and you can pick them up, sit in a chair, cuddle them, talk, read them a book, and before long they've forgotten all about, hurting their knee. It's kind of a done thing, and we're going to move on to something else. But when things like that happen, then you just feel how powerless you are. And I remember kind of being a little bit mad at God. Because I didn't want to give up the fight, because I thought if I was giving up and accepting, then I was okay with it, and I wasn't. But I guess that I go back to all of this to say, I think that for me, the most challenging thing has been as a mom is realizing how powerless I am. I mean, there's no control. I mean, do you guys find that, have you had those scenarios?
Oh, yes.
There's just no control.
I mean, all we can do is, it's a different situation than yours, but it's still a control thing, and all we can do is our best to point them in the right direction and, try to turn things to Jesus as often as you can. But ultimately, they're their own person. God created them with their own mind, just like He created us with our own, decision-making ability, and all we can do is just point them to Jesus and pray for them, which is the best thing we can do for them. But in the end, it's out of our control. God is always the one in control. So,
I agree.
I mean, sometimes in situations like sicknesses, it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
But He has the story written already, and He knows how it's going to go, and we just have to trust that it turns out perfect in the end.
That's the hard part, isn't it?
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yes.
Oh no, and I don't bring that up for any other. It was just my first experience as a mom of I can't fix everything, and that, I mean, certainly now I can't fix really a lot of anything. But I mean, you guys, you're the youngest mom, and I don't mean to say that what I said earlier. It doesn't mean I'm saying that you don't know difficult times, because I know sleep deprived, and the kids are busy, and life and working and so on and so forth. It's not easy at the time. So, I by no means did I say
No.
that.
I wasn't feeling like you were. Everyone has their own struggles at different
Yeah,
stages, and
it's
there's
true.
different stages of parenthood, motherhood. So
Exactly.
I'm just in the beginning stage.
In the
and
early stage,
in
not
your
beginning.
stage, the early stage, and you're in, like, your kids are grown up, but you still
Later.
have your struggles with them.
Oh,
And they're just as valid.
they are Being a mom, just it never stops, ever does it? Isn't it great?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
The best
So
job.
So sleepless cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and you are not in the sleepless cycle, but you're in a
Not
preteen
anymore.
cycle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We are.
How old's your girl?
She's 9.
9.
Yeah, she'll be 10 in September. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Creeping
Yeah,
up to
we
the
have
teenage
we
years.
have some days with attitude.
I have a 5-year-old and she's drama. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, so you're and also a newlywed still.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
2 years is still,
Yeah. It is still very new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
fun.
but is it as if you've always been?
Oh my word, I can't
Yeah.
even believe it. Like even from our first date, it just seems like we've been long lost friends. It's really amazing actually, because both of us had been praying for a spouse, and we came to the mind of a mutual friend one night, and she just messaged both of us and asked if we'd be interested in meeting someone that she knew we should meet. And she actually goes to the Kingston location, and just from that first date, I can't even explain it. It's one of those things like when
Wow.
you see your baby for the first time.
Oh,
But yeah, we even lost track of time, and yeah, we just hit it off from the beginning, and it wasn't long before we knew we would get married to each other. And we met in February. We were engaged officially in May, but we knew like probably end of March, beginning of April, that we would marry each
Wow.
other. And God couldn't have even picked a better person for Liliana. They have also clicked together, and she often jokes to me that
Tearing up.
Jason's hers and not mine. So he has been a real blessing to both of us, and that's been actually quite wonderful.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's a beautiful story.
It actually
Sometimes
is.
when you
Yeah,
know,
it
you
really
know.
is.
No time frame will, like, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
A month or 10 years.
Or 10,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
which all goes so fast.
Mhm.
So, and we're not sticking to any kind of a script. I'm even going to put it down. But so one thing it's a really good idea. So one thing or one of the few, or a few things that you want to be known as a mom.
Right, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I want to, like, be known for being loving and compassionate. And if my kids, like, just in the end know me as that and I succeed in that, then I'm happy. Like, I just want them to know that I love them unconditionally no matter what, and I'll always be there for them.
That was
Like,
exactly,
no matter what. Like,
that was exactly my thought, and I don't want Liliana to live a moment of her life when she doubts if I love her. I know she will have moments where she's like, ooh, that mother of mine. But in her heart of hearts, deep within her, she needs to know that I'm on her side. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
and can always
where
come
she
to
is or
us no
what's
matter
going on.
what.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that is exactly mine.
Cliche.
I know. Yeah, no. It's the same. I just wish, like, and I could ask the boys now how they see me, but I don't know that I think I want to know the answer, but I'm not sure.
You know what? When I see the way your boys look at you,
Oh.
it's pure love. Like, they love you so much.
They are the, well, I know I have an argument here because
For you.
for me, my world would not be, I can't imagine my world without them.
Right.
You know,
I say that to Liliana often.
yeah. There are times when I don't get a chance to talk to them in the run of it often. Sometimes even in the run of a week, I don't get a chance to talk to Seth. But there isn't a day, there isn't an hour that I'm not thinking about both of them.
No kidding.
And, you know, I just, if I could say, if we could script, you know, something that we want our kids to say about us, you know, loving, compassionate, that they're always loved. But if they only knew how much that, you know, that we really love them,
Right.
how could we even tell them that without, you know, overstating, I love you so much.
Right.
See, in my stage, I think it would be okay to express that much, to be kissing them and hugging them and being like, I just love you. But no, Sherry.
Oh, I still do. I think it makes them sometimes blush, but there are times it's like, oh, those faces. They're,
Yeah.
it never changes.
No.
But oh, my dear, just wait until the teenage years.
I'm not ready.
No,
Not.
and that's okay.
And they're going by
Oh.
so fast. Like, I remember Emerald being, like you were saying earlier, you even remember her just being a baby, and now she's turning 5, and those 5 years just went by fast. So now I know in another 5 years, I'm going to have a 10-year-old.
Right.
And
Oh,
I don't know how I'm going to be able to cope with it. They go by so, like, people always say they go by fast, but
it's
they go
true.
by
Once
fast.
you have kids, and you understand that. Because people used to tell me when I was a child that time passes fast, and I'm like, what? I'm never going to be 22 and cool. That was always my thought.
it was 22 and cool.
Yeah, 22. I don't know why as a child I thought 22 was the age. Anyway, that is long gone. Now I'm watching Liliana grow up, and it feels like she was born like a few months ago, but
Yeah.
I know.
she'll be 10 soon, and it's crazy.
Emerald always says she wants to grow up.
Oh.
And she wants to be older, and she wants to be an adult. And I'm like,
Oh,
no, you
yes.
don't.
No.
Please, just enjoy this.
See, but that's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, giving the gift of childhood to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to grow up fast enough as it
Yeah.
is.
They are.
Right.
Do you ever remember, and I this isn't in the, but I just it popped in my head. So do you ever remember being a young mom and having people give you unsolicited advice?
Yes.
Oh, lots.
Yes. And I remember this one girl, and she'd probably remember that it was her. And she told me at the baby shower that we had here, she said, she goes, I'm not trying to give you advice, but the best advice I can give you is don't take any advice. You're going to walk your
Yeah.
own path and everything.
Right.
Like, when I was pregnant, I didn't read any baby books. Like I said, I felt like I shouldn't. And like, I was pretty stern on it. I'm like, I'm not reading anything about baby books. And I don't like, it just came, everything came the way it was supposed to.
Right.
Like it just,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it just felt like, fell into place the way that I was supposed to mother
Right.
and the way that it felt comfortable to me.
I was thinking of what to expect when you're expecting, but
Oh.
after that, I'm thinking everybody reads that. Sorry, but the baby, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that she read every single book that she possibly could, but it never came in handy because nothing in the book even prepared her for what she was facing and
Mm-hmm.
being a new mother.
no, because the medical books are fine, but
Mm-hmm.
but for Emerald, when she's born, she's a unique person,
100%.
and she's yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, the best advice that I gave, like people, I did get a lot of advice, but that was the best. It honestly was the
Yeah.
best advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You can
that is
take,
great.
or even if you do get advice, just take pieces that work
Mm.
for you, because everyone's own situation, like what they think is right, is not probably ever
Always.
going to be right for you.
Mhm.
It is true. Did you find that as well?
Yeah, I can't remember any one specific example, like a story like that, but I just do remember people love to tell new moms how it's going to be. But
They love
just
it.
because it was like that for them doesn't mean it's like that for everybody.
It's true.
Yeah, and I remember reading I did just think of one example. I remember reading to take all the help you can get when you get home from the hospital. Like, this is going to be the most difficult time, and if anybody offers anything, just say yes, because they want to truly help. And you're going to be doing this, this, and this, and it's going to be so difficult with a newborn. She was so easy in those first couple months that I was like, this is as hard as it gets. Like, we've got this made. This is awesome if this is as hard as it gets. But then she started crawling and getting into things, and I was like, ooh, you were lying. Because those first few weeks when she slept all the time and she was quiet and not touching anything, that was pretty easy for us. But nobody told me when she was approaching 1 year that's when it truly gets interesting.
Wow, you had a really great experience then if she slept all
I
the
did.
time. Wow.
Well, I mean,
I
like,
had both.
normal. What would they would consider normal for a baby?
Wow.
But I mean, like, we didn't have the, wouldn't sleep newborn, didn't eat newborn, none of that. Like, she was pretty typical and easygoing, I would say, for a newborn compared to
Wow.
what we were
Yeah.
told and prepared for.
What you're expecting.
'Cause, I mean, I just sat her down. I remember the very first time we brought her home, I sat her down. And I'm like, okay, now what? Like,
What do I do?
where's the difficulties start? Like,
Wow.
but nobody said wait till they get moving.
Oh.
Because then when we went on an airplane, she was like, I gotta get down and out of here. And then,
no.
like, if we were, I don't know, our apartment was small when she was a baby and all that. So it just seemed like that was the most difficult time when we first brought her home.
Well, they stay put.
Right.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Do you remember those days?
Yes, I do. With Emerald, she was like the most easygoing kid. Like, until 6 months, she slept 12-hour nights. So I was really
Right.
blessed with her.
Right.
And it what's the word I'm looking for? It tricked me into having another one. No.
Yeah. Made it seem easy.
Yes. But after 6 months, then she started waking up more, but it was what you would expect in the beginning. So it wasn't, for 6 months, I got 12-hour night sleep. So I was fine by the time it hit there. With Eamon, he never slept. Not even a little bit. And he doesn't stop. And Emerald, like, even at 2, we could sit her down and just like, she would play. But Eamon does not do that. He's on the table and he's trying to get in the oven, and
Oh
it's
my.
constant with him. And so I remember when he would just, he did lay there, but it was a very short period.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like with him, it went by really fast. Really fast. With Emerald, it felt like I had the newborn stage and I
Yeah.
had all of those like precious moments. And when we had our second, it felt like they just went so fast.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I had all those moments with him, but it's just probably having like another child, and
Definitely.
everything's just so fast paced with 2.
Sure.
And probably with 3 and 4 and 5.
We can't speak to that.
No. My mom had 6 girls and I don't, no, thank you.
Yeah, I could not do that.
No, thank you.
I have a lot of respect for
Yes.
large families.
Mhm.
A lot of respect. But I just didn't have the capacity.
I always wanted to have a large family. And like I probably wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just don't know if I'd like naturally be able to give everything that I want to all of them. Like you get so stretched you feel like you're so stretched even with one. So like imagine 5 and trying to get
Yeah.
give them each enough. Like I don't know if I'd be able to do it. But
That is. Yeah.
some
there's-
people can.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
and really their personalities are just, they kind of go with the flow. It's just, there's just
Somehow it just works.
it does.
Yeah.
I think the older kids
Yeah.
sort
I
of
think that-
step
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I think
and
help
helps
out
them.
when you get in that situation, then it's just
Yeah.
natural.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, would it matter if you had 2 kids, one child, 2 or
10?
10? I mean, you wouldn't love them any
No.
less. I mean, there's you could have the number of kids as stars. You love them no
Mhm.
differently.
Yeah,
But-
that's
I've heard-
fair because
I've heard mothers of multiples explain how crazy that is, that they love the first one so much and
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah.
imagine having that much love for more children, but as their children were born, their love just grew and grew
Mhm.
and
It's
grew with
true.
each child. So
Yeah.
somehow God makes it all work out.
that. Yeah, when we had Emerald, like the amount of love that we had for her was
Mm.
like amazing. Like we couldn't expect to love anything more than
Mhm.
that. And Lucas always said when we found out we were having Eamon, he said, I don't know how I can love another baby as much as I love her. And I was like, I feel that too, but I think it will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that we met Eamon,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it was just overwhelming. Like it was like we grew another heart to give to him, but there was still the same amount for Emerald.
Yeah.
Like there was no
Mhm.
sharing. It was just
No.
double.
More of it. yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they fit into a piece into your life that you
Mhm.
didn't know you were missing,
Yeah.
and clearly, you missed them. You
Yeah.
had no
Mhm.
idea.
Like how did you live without
How
them?
did I live without them?
Yeah.
Right.
I know. I have a great deal of respect, again, back to the grandmothers and,
Mhm.
and whatever. I remember when I was younger, this shows the independent side of me a little more. But I remember when I was a young mom and should have been more open, but older people would say to me, give me a lot of unsolicited advice and tell me what to expect and so on and so forth. And I remember thinking, well, I think I know my child a little bit better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but that's how I felt.
You would turn around and you'd say it.
I think it in my head. That's the honest part of me. But now I guess I'm thankful. I wish that I had embraced the older. I guess maybe I wish I had had mentors at the time.
Right.
I know we're different, and everything is different. But I guess so really I had lots of unsolicited advice. But I wish that I had, I guess, taken, like you
Little
said, you
pieces.
take little pieces.
Mhm.
I wish I had done that more.
Right.
But because I think there was a lot of wisdom there. Not that they would have
There's-
always
yeah.
fixed everything.
For
but-
sure wisdom, but
Yeah.
yeah. Like in different generations too, there's always going to be
Oh,
things
yeah.
that change.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
we
Like
do
computers.
things probably completely different than even modern parents. Like
Right.
both of our kids were on floor beds, and like a lot of people thought that was like the craziest thing in the world. But like as a parent,
Mm.
things work for you and things work
Right.
for me, and
Exactly.
Right.
we're not doing anything to danger our kids. We're just doing what's
No.
best for them.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that and well, that pretty much I think wraps everything up. What of what we
Mhm.
had to talk about, and it's really great sitting and chatting with both of you.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
I hope that you have a wonderful Mother's Day.
You as well.
Thanks. You as well.
Hope
Happy
you're
Mother's Day.
spoiled.
Mm.
She gave a look.
My favorite Mother's Day is just being with the kids.
Yeah.
Like that's
Mhm.
all I want is
I
just
know.
to that's what my Mother's Day was in the very beginning, was just
Yeah.
them.
Right.
Just cuddling with them and being with them. So
Mhm.
that's all I want.
I know.
It's
That's Liliana realized it was Mother's Day the other day coming up, and she said, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to get you? I have to make you something. I have
Oh.
to." Her spiritual gift, or what do you call that? Her love language
Right.
is gift giving.
Oh.
She just loves to make
Oh.
things and give people things. And I said, "Liliana, really, I just need to spend the day with you. If we
Yeah.
just do
Yeah.
everything together." And she kind of looked at me. I was like, "You'll understand when you have your kids, but really, I just want to be
That's
with
all
you."
you want. Yeah. Just those
Oh,
moments.
Yeah.
The moments go away
Yeah.
eventually.
I
So
know.
just those moments.
I agree. Well, COVID is going to make it challenging for a lot of moms
Mhm.
this year.
So hard.
Mhm.
So, but it's if our kids are well
Yeah.
and that
Mhm.
they're safe, and
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of moms today that I think are probably going to be it's going to be a struggling day,
Mhm.
a day full of struggles, I guess.
Mm.
Just not because they're not going to be able to be with them, but
Mhm.
I think we can probably all agree that we wish them a really happy Mother's Day, knowing that their
Right.
kids love them.
Yes.
And when they call them, so if maybe
Call
if
your
people
moms.
call your moms,
Call your moms.
and yeah, because it could be, but I hope that that all the moms out there today just feel really special. Anyway, happy
On
Mother's Day.
and every
Happy
day.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks, New Hope.